All right, it's your boy Akeen again, back for today's second block, wrapping things off at the linebacker position. Here to give you my top 5 inside linebackers. I don't think they're overall not as good as the outside linebackers, but we have a couple of decent players, particularly my top 2 players that everybody's really talking about, possibly even the number 3 player. Starting at number 5, Kiko Alonso out of Oregon. This guy weighs 238 pounds at 6'2", decent size, but I think he needs to be a little bit more bulkier in the inside linebacker position because he's going to be dealing with more contact than the outside linebacker position, particularly when you have to go in between the tackles, especially the A-gap blitzer. He's definitely a good A-gap blitzer to talk about. He's a good player overall. 81 tackles this past season for the Oregon Ducks. He shows a little bit of intensity in his attack. He's a mighty Duck. But like I said, he is a good A-gap blitzer, but that is his only limitation. He's not too good in between the tackles and other gaps, and that is a big concern for me. You need to be able to pinpoint each lane and get inside any gap at the middle linebacker position. That is the key position in getting all the tackles and reading gaps and even telling instructing the defensive lineman where to go. That he lacks that, and that's why I had to put him at number 5. At number 4, I'm going to go with Kevin Reddick out of UNC, North Carolina. He's an intelligent, hard-working player. I like this kid. He's a good fundamental player, good vision, and he doesn't he actually hits the run first before dropping back to the fat pass. Good stance, good posture before the play, understands where his reads are at, and understands where to direct the players, and he hits the run first before the pass, just like all the inside linebackers should be doing, as well as the outside linebackers. Run first, then the pass. He breaks down pretty well in open field, and he grabs the runner. That's a decent breakdown, but one thing he needs to work on is his changing directions in his hips. He kind of needs to tweak those fluid hips. He needs to do a little bit better in changing directions. Also, his height could be a little bit of a disadvantage at 6'1". You kind of wish he was just a little bit taller, 6'3", 6'4", in order to vision the quarterback and keep an eye on him. That is very key, but I think he will be just fine. He's a decent overall player. At number 3, he was a one-hit wonder at LSU. Kevin Mentor, 130 tackles this past season and over 10 tackles for loss. He had a great year, but like I said, he was a one-hit wonder. But I still think that wasn't a fluke. He's a great player overall, coming off his junior year for leading the Tigers in tackles, and he had an outstanding year, 130 tackles. Definitely a ball hog. He could definitely play from sideline to sideline. But like I said, a little bit of a one-hit wonder, question mark. That's why I had to put him at number 3. At number 2, a little bit of a debate here, but I'm going to go with Manti Teo out of Notre Dame. This kid is a relentless player, tenacious player, great instincts and awareness of finding the football, even can step back in pass coverage. He had 7 interceptions this past season in college football as a senior. Second overall in the Heisman voting, placed second behind Johnny Manziel. He had a big year, but going towards the national championship, he struggled in that matchup. I think he's a lot better at that. Plus, he had the off-the-field issues with the hoax of his girlfriend. That was a big case, and that was a little bit of a fallback for him. And last but not least, he had a fallback in his overall workout at the Scouting Combine, particularly at the 40. He ran a 4.82. That is terrible. He's a lot faster than that, but I think he's going to recover from that. We all see what he does on tape. I think he's a lot faster than a 4.28. And even over the past couple of seasons, and coming from the Scouting Combine, there's a couple players who had a terrible workout, particularly Brandon Spikes, but they ended up showing that they can play in the National Football League. Brandon Spikes is a good impact player on the defensive side for the New England Patriots. I think that combine workout for Manti Teo was a little bit of a fluke, and he will recover from that. Now, at number 1, I'm going to go with Georgia's Alec Ogletree. He had 117 tackles this past season. Great player, good instincts, but he rarely uses his hands to fight off his blockers. He has a good quick punch and quickly using his hands, but he doesn't continue to fight using those hands with those blockers. But I still think he's a great player overall. Good speed at his position, ran a 4.740. Also, he reminds me of his ex-Bulldog player, Thomas Davis. He played for the Carolina Panthers. He had a couple of great seasons for the Panthers, and he reminds me a lot of him. Great instincts. Also a little bit of a concern for me, he had a couple off the field issues, just like Manti Teo with federal with the law, and I think that's a little bit of a setback for him. But I had to put him above Manti Teo because he had a better overall workout than Teo. But Teo could probably still be picked over him because he had a better productivity throughout his career in college football. I think Manti Teo can sneak his way into the top 15, hopefully if he plays. But if not, he will still be at least a first-round selection in my opinion. Couple of honorable mentions, two players in particular. John Bostic out of Florida, I think he's a decent player, and fellow SEC player Nico Johnson out of the defending national champion Alabama Crimson Tide. For the past upcoming seasons, we saw a couple of great linebackers coming out of Alabama: Ronaldo McClain, Dante Hightower, and Nick Johnson's now that next guy. He's a definite good honorable mention. Just missed out on my top 5. And my sleeper at the inside linebacker position, I'm going to go with A.J. Klein out of Iowa State. I think he's a great player. 362 career tackles as a Cyclone. He's he plays okay in pass coverage. He posted 9 breakups and 5 interceptions in his career. Little bit of a concern for me because of his coverage skills. He's a little bit better than what a lot of people says, and that's why I think he's a sleeper. Great tackler. He could definitely get to the football. Good instincts, good awareness, and I think he's a great leader. They had a good linebacking core. Don't forget about Jake Knott too for the Iowa State Cyclones. They had a great linebacking core the past couple of seasons in college football, and I think that A.J. Klein is a little bit underrated, and I think that these scouts need to start looking at him a little bit better. I think he's a great player overall. Now, next time I'm going to catch you guys is on Wednesday, where I will talk about the third level of the defense, which is the secondary, which I will give you my top 5 videos for the top 5 cornerbacks and the top 5 safeties. Thank you for watching today's vlogs. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.